All right, everybody, here we go. I'm going to give you a step-by-step tutorial on how to use your Soundtrap. So when you go to soundtrap.com, just like you can see up here in my search bar, it says soundtrap.com. It says /Lisa Friedrich because this is my account. And if you type soundtrap.com into your search bar, it will bring you to this website and it will open in your own account because I have created accounts for everyone. So once you get here, your screen might look a little different. I'm the teacher who's administering this class, so I have everybody's songs here who's been sharing with me. If you don't have a song shared with me yet, then this is how you will do it. Go to your purple button that says Enter Studio. We're going to create an 8-beat drum pattern. So when it asks you what kind of project you want to do, you say you want to do a music project. This is a blank slate, so there's no music created yet, nothing is here, and you have to decide what do you want to do. Do you want to do loops? Do you want to do a beat maker, play the synth, invite a friend, import file, add a new track? There's 2 different ways you can start this new project. You can go right here to Pattern Beat Maker, which is probably the easiest way to get to where you need to be. You also can just go up here and add a new track and start the new track as part of this project. So I'm going to use Pattern Beat Maker. This will take me right to the grid. Now this grid represents all the different beats in the measures. So the first measure is the first 4 grids. You see this number 1? That means measure 1. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes in the first grid, but you have 4 grids because there's really 4 beats in a measure. And how you click on each one of these squares will determine where your sound comes and how your beat is created. So we're going to make a pattern by clicking on boxes. This first instrument that's called a kick is really like your bass drum. So that's like that big booming bass sound. You have a snare, you have a hi-hat. Those are the 3 that they automatically give you. And you always can add more sounds if you want. So you can add a sound. Oh, this says hi-hat open. If you didn't want to use hi-hat open, then you can go right here, use this arrow, and choose something different. Why don't we try a rim shot? And then maybe it would be nice to have an open hi-hat. So we've got a kick, a snare, a closed hi-hat, a rim shot, and a hi-hat with an open sound. The rim shots are kind of like what we do on the bucket drums when you hit the edge of your bucket. So, all right, here we have the instruments that I want to use. These are the grids that are going to tell me where my beats are coming. The most important beat to give you a steady pattern is going to be your bass. So under the kick, I'm going to go across and I'm going to put in measure number 1, there's 4 beats. So I want the kick to happen at the beginning of each beat. So now I have one measure that's got 4 beats. I'm going to go and do 2 measures at a time. So right now I have a kick playing. You want to hear it? Let's try. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I put these measures in, you can scroll back and forth to make sure that your beats continue because there's measure 3, there's measure 4, but I haven't filled anything in yet. Did you notice when I started to fill in the beats here, it created this red box up here under my track. And this red box is the first measure. The second red box is the second measure. So this is first, this is second. Right now, all I have is a kick going. I think I want something to add. I'm going to add a snare. So I'm adding a snare in a pattern. Do you see how I'm kind of creating? It almost visually looks like a pattern. In the same way, it will sound like a pattern. I'm going to turn my volume up all the way because I played it the first time, and I'm not sure you could hear it very well. But hopefully the sound is transferring to you. So this is what it sounds like. Oops. One other thing you have to do. It started to go where I paused it before. Do you see this purple cursor at the top? I'm going to drag it all the way back to the beginning. Whatever plays, wherever it's playing, this purple cursor will show you where it's at. Watch what happens to the cursor when I hit play. There's my pattern. Now I didn't push stop yet. That cursor is going to continue to move, and it's going to continue to show me all of the silence that I don't really care about. So when it gets to the end of this gray bar, right now I need enough measures to fill me to the end of the gray bar. And I don't really care about the rest of this. This is like an extra long song that's potentially, creates more music, but I don't need that much. This assignment is only 8 measures. So let's stop that cursor from moving. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning, but this time I'm going to hit, do you see this little arrow in the corner that I just clicked right up here? If that's purple, this bar turns purple. And now at least as the cursor plays, it's going to repeat. So the cursor moves like this. So these are the rest of the measures. I still have to fill them in with music and drum beats. But when it gets to the end of that purple bar, watch what happens. Ah, it went back to the beginning. So that makes it easiest to listen to what I've done so far and to play it back. So if you can do that, go up to your circle button here and get your toolbar to turn purple. And then at least when you're playing it, it will keep repeating the music that you're making and it will stop when you need it to stop. 8 measures is the end of the assignment, so I'm only going to go to 8 measures. If I did want to make a longer song, all I have to do is drag it and I can make it as long as I want. For this example, I'm going to leave it here because we've got the 8th measure and then it stops. So back this way. Do you see how I can drag the cursor from the top? But I also can go down here and look at where I've added things. All right, so now I'm going to add a rim shot, but I'm going to add a rim shot not on every square here. I want the rim shot to come on the off beats. So it's like, maybe I'm going to have the rim shot come here. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. I meant 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. What does that sound like? And stop. That rim shot comes. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe I want to move the rim shot over. I'm going to move it this way so that it's distinct and I can hear it separate from the kick because I think the kick and the rim shot are drowning each other out. Let's see. Did that fix it? Yeah. Okay. Now, because the rim shot and the kick are not lining up, they sound bum, 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 bum. So now I've created a rhythm. I kind of like it. We're going to add a hi-hat. How do I want to add my hi-hat? I'm going to put the hi-hat, so the closed sound, and I'm going to put it on the and. So if I've got beat number 1, 1 and 2, and so this is 1 and 2 and every other. If you really are like counting like a musician, these squares that will come across, it's going to be 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. And when I do it that way, I can remember that the and of the beat, which is kind of like the off beats, is going to come E and on this spot here. So here, I want to add, the snare is already on that beat, but maybe I'm going to add an open hi-hat. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see how this sounds. Back to beginning and go. Okay. There's one spot in there that I hear boom, 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 chippa. I want to add the closed hi-hat right before the second beat on every measure. So here's the second beat. And wait, where did I add it? I'm just 1 hi-hat close at the bum, bum, ba, chippa. So right there. It's the 1E and a hi-hat. 1E and a. Let's see, can you hear how that changed it? It's pretty subtle, but it does start to sound like a drum pattern, right? So let's say I really like this drum pattern that I've created in 2 measures, and I want to use it, but I still have all of these empty spots, right? Maybe I can duplicate it by copying and pasting, and that will turn my 2 measures into 8 measures. So when you're duplicating measures, you're going to do a copy and paste. But the other thing that's kind of important is to go over here, and do you see this magnet symbol? If I turn it off, then this cursor will just slide anywhere I want it to. But that means that sometimes my beats are not going to match up, and I could just drop a beat anywhere and it wouldn't match up with the steady metronome beat that I'm trying to create a steady pattern. So I'm going to turn the magnet on, and then the cursor jumps in a different way. It goes only to on the beat. So that way I can kind of guarantee that anything I add will at least be added with like on the beat instead of off beats. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on my first red box. Then I'm going to choose File. It's not giving me a chance to. Oh, I'm sorry, not File. I'm going to click on the red box and choose Edit. So we're going to edit. Then you can copy it. Once I have this first red box copied, I have my cursor right here at the beginning of the third measure. Oops, move it back to the beginning. And then when it's there, the cursor will tell it where to paste it. So then I choose Paste. This box has just been added. So now I have 3 measures of music. And I can move my cursor over to measure 4 and paste it again. And I'm going to do that for the first 4 measures. And so now let's see, what does that sound like? Starting at the beginning and play. Okay. Now, my last 4 measures, I want to change it up a little bit. So I want to go back into my grid view so I can change what's happening. When I hit the drum over here, I can also get the same grid at the bottom. But look, this looks like this is telling you all the different sounds you have to work with. If you really want to get creative, you can create more beats right here on the drum pad by using my keyboard. So this sound is a number 8. If I tap the 8 on my keyboard, it's just like tapping this. So you actually, if I go between 8 and E, I can create a rhythm just by using my keyboard. It's just a little bit, kind of lags a little bit. And so sometimes I don't really love doing it that way. I like the pattern grids the best. Look, it filled in all of these grids for me because I copied and pasted. But starting at measure 5, they're all blank. So this is where it stops. This is where my sound bar stops. So I need to fill in 4 more measures. Now that I've done bum chim bumpa chimpa bum chim bumpa chimpa, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna keep my bass for 2 measures. So measure 5 and measure 6 are getting a bass on every spot. But I'm gonna add something different in this closed hi-hat. Bum 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 bum. Bass, hi-hat closed. Bass, hi-hat closed. Bass, hi-hat closed. And I'm going to complete the whole pattern to fill 2 measures. All right, let's check that out. What does that sound like? At the beginning, ready to play. Okay, I like it. It's working. Okay, I'm going to go back and I've got 2 measures left. I think I still like the way this measure sounds, but I want to give it a little bit of a layer to it for the last 2 measures. So I'm going back here where I can see my grid. or not the grid, I'm sorry. I just closed the grid. So this is my track. I'm going to take the track that I just created, that last measure that I do like, the new variation. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it in measure number 7, and paste it again in measure number 8. And I'm going to switch them up. So now when I go into this measure, I'm going to bring my cursor back to this spot, but I want to add something. So I'm going back to this little drum symbol to open up my grid at the bottom, choosing the pattern, moving over. Okay, so here we are, 7. We had the first, like measures 5 and 6 are going bum da 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 bum ba da da. Now I'm going to add bum ba da bum. I'm going to add a snare pop here. Bum 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 bum. And so I added a little bit of a snare and a rim shot. We're going to add a rim shot right before. So it's going to go boom, rim shot, boom, 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 boom. I'm going to add a rim shot here. So it comes in right before the snare. Here's the other snare, rim shot right before that snare. And this one and that one. So let's see, how did that change my pattern? Let's go to the beginning and listen to the whole thing. Ah, and I have 8 measures of a drum pattern beat. And then I know it's what I wanted and I'm happy with my work. So I'm ready to share it with my teacher. This is the last most important part so I can see your work, because if you don't share it with me, I don't know what it sounds like. I don't know if you understand it. I don't even know if you really did it or not. So let's go up here to this share button. And I'm going to enter the name of my teacher, and that is me, Lisa Friedrich. I'm inviting myself to join the project, which means, all right, so since I am myself, it won't understand that I'm here. So maybe if I put in a different name, I could share with Miss Beery, or I'm sorry, Mrs. Alexander. Basically, once you put my name in here and you invite me, then I can hear your song. It will send me your work and I will be able to open it. You have to always save your work too. Please do that. When you hit the share button, it automatically saves before it shares with somebody. But if I wanted to change anything, if I decided I wanted to, oh wait, I decided I didn't like my last measure as much as I want. I need this pattern to happen on every beat. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm adding these rim shots like that and adding this. Look at that visual pattern. It looks like it's the same thing, repeating, 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 almost like Tetris, right? So now I changed something in my song. And if I don't save it that way, nobody else will know what I changed. This purple button up here, the save button, turned purple because there's something new that needs to be saved. If everything is current and you've saved the most recent version of your song, this button will be gray because there's nothing to save. But since it's purple, I do have to save my work. So it updates. There you go. Now I know it's all done updating. And when I share it with somebody, they're going to get my most recent version of the song. So that should do it. Everything is saved. I can exit the studio. And if you do everything the right way, when you share your song with me, it will send me your song and it will add it to this list. So I'll be able to listen to it and give you a grade. So let's get those Soundtrap songs turned in. Thank you very much for watching.